Hi, everybody. I'm Clemson Turregano, and I want to welcome you to a really short 15-minute introduction to creating high-performance teams. And it's well known that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you want to go with others. I saw this inside a wall of the airport in Johannesburg, South Africa, and it always impressed me about the importance of high-performing teams. And so today, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to think of the best team you were ever on. So take a minute, think. Best team. What made it the best? And you're going to need a pen and a paper as we walk through this because we're going to take a few notes and we might be coming back to this point throughout our discussion today. So write down what really made it the best. And you might find some clues on high-performing teams as we think about the best team you were ever on. In our quick look today, we're going to talk about why teams are important. We're going to go over some definitions, and then we're going to talk about the 5 key things that teams need to be high-performing and how that helps us build high-performing teams. So teams, who cares? Really, I mean, if you want to go far, go alone. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. Why? Because it's good for complex tasks. You can't do everything by yourself. It's good for innovation because other people are going to provide insight to what you're doing. It's good for culture because people want to be around other people like them who think like they do. It's good for the future because you're setting a foundation for future growth and role modeling. And then, there's the old saying that all of us are stronger than, all of us are stronger than one of us, and the sum is greater than the whole of the parts. And so that synergy beyond one person is really critical. But what's also important is we've found out through research that inability to form and properly staff teams is one of the top 5 reasons why executives' careers stall or derail. So understanding teams and how to create them can lead to you being a more effective leader and a more effective manager. So let's talk about what teams are. Teams are more than just people who think the same way who are working together. So teams are dependent upon each other for the completion of a complex task. I mean, hey, if it were simple, you do it yourself. But if it's complex, we need other people. They possess different but complementary skill sets. This is the French rugby team, and you can just see from their different sizes how you need different people with different skills to come together on a team. They manage their own work within boundaries set by the organization, but here's what makes teams different from just a group of people. They can hold each other accountable. They have an internal process for handling communications, conflict, problems, decisions, and goals. In some places, we call that understanding process, and you'll see the role that plays in just a moment. In addition, teams are bounded and stable over time, so they understand each other, they know how each other works, and they know each other's strengths and weaknesses. So what's the difference between a team and a high-performing team? So this team is the New Zealand rugby team, the All Blacks. It's the number 1, many people will say. There are other people who will say different, but it's the number 1 rugby team in the world. It's a team that exceeds expectations for its performance given its membership. So you might think a team may perform at a certain level and it performs much higher. That's a high-performing team. The personal commitment on the part of each member to the other members' personal growth and success is great. So I'm not only dedicated to the team goal, I'm dedicated to you. And that means the degree of coordination and interdependency within the team is such that the team members are able to anticipate what each other will need and provide that in advance. Quite simply, they've told each other, I will not let you fail. That might mean that I give you a little harsh feedback sometimes, but that's because I want you to succeed. So how do we create high-performing teams? There are 5 key questions for high-performing teams, and these questions are heavily researched and came from the Google study for teams at Google. And this study, called Project Aristotle, was built on the work of Dr. Amy Edmondson. And the 5 key questions, we're actually going to go from the bottom to the top. Do we fundamentally believe in the work that we're doing, that the work we are doing matters? Second question, are we working on something that is personally important for each of us? Are goals, roles, and execution plans on our team clear? Can we count on each other to do high quality work on time? And finally, can we take risks on this team without feeling insecure or embarrassed? What I'd like you to do is we're going to go over those one more time. And I'd like you to rank each one on a scale of 1 to 5 for your team. My team does this all the time. That's a 5. My team never does this. That's a 1. You can make up the numbers in the middle. So first question, score 1 to 5. Do we fundamentally believe that the work we're doing matters? Question number 2, are we working on something that is personally important for each of us? Score it 1 to 5. Question number 3, are goals, roles, and execution plans on our team clear? Wonder where that is on the 1 to 5 scale. Can we count on each other to do high quality work on time? And then finally, and this is really important, can we take risks on this team without feeling insecure or embarrassed? Take a look at your scores. You might want to add them up. The higher the score, the better you're doing. The lower the score, you might want to look at certain areas. And here's why. The research that Google did and that Amy Edmondson has done identified the 5 keys to high performing teams. And we're going to start from the bottom and work to the top. So do we fundamentally believe that the work we're doing matters? That's all about impact. Do we think our work matters and creates change? Are we working on something that is personally important for each of us? That's all about meaning. And for certain generations, especially younger generations, meaning has meaning. Meaning is very important. Work is personally important to the team members. It has meaning. Third question, are goals, roles, and execution plans on our team clear? This is all about structure and clarity. Team members have to have clear roles, plans, and goals. They need to know who's who in the zoo and what they do. Fourth question, can we count on each other to do high quality work on time? Folks, this is all about dependability. Can I depend on you? Can I hold you accountable? Team members get things done on time and, in this case, meet Google's high bar for excellence. And that could be your organization. And then, can we take risks? This is the most important. Without feeling insecure or embarrassed. This is all about psychological safety, which is the absolute key for high-performing teams. Team members feel safe to take risks and be vulnerable in front of each other. Hey, that was all my fault. I'm not going to miss that goal again. Hey, I missed that ball this time, but I'm not going to miss it again. That's being vulnerable in front of your team members. That's psychological safety. So let's talk about that role of psychological safety for a moment and go a little bit deeper with that, because psychological safety is a shared belief held by members of the team that the team is safe for interpersonal risk-taking, which means I can bring things up and I won't be shut down. People will listen to me and I know that people have my back. A sense of confidence the team will not embarrass, reject, or punish someone for speaking up. And then finally, it is a climate, is a culture of a team characterized by interpersonal trust and mutual respect in which people are comfortable being themselves. So if somebody doesn't want to speak up in the team, that's fine. They'll speak up at another time, maybe quietly and maybe on the side, maybe with one person. But everybody knows that and they're comfortable with that. That's psychological safety. So how do we use psychological safety in these 5 questions and these different factors to create high-performing teams? We use goals, roles, and process reinforced by psychological safety. If we understand goals and build impact and meaning, we reinforce roles. We know who's who in the zoo and what they do. That has structure and clarity. And if we create processes that everyone understands and agrees to, we have accountability for dependability. And we're going to break each one of these down. We talk about identifying goals and success to build impact and meaning. It's this is why we're here and this is what we're going to do. That gives me impact because it offers me a subjective judgment that my work is going to make a difference. It gives me meaning because now I have a sense of purpose. I know we're going to make this happen. Understanding goals is all about the what success looks like, what needs to be done, what everyone will need to do, and what we will do to share ideas and communications. And to keep the psychological safety aspect to it, when we're talking about goals, we want to be listening for specific phrases like, oh, I don't get it. They might need more facts. I don't like it. Oh, and that may be somebody who needs to talk about what they're concerned with. I don't like you. That may be somebody whose values you don't share, and you need to talk more about what's important in order to have that impact and to generate that meeting. The goal in creating goals is to create as much consensus as you can and share all the information you can. This is where transparency becomes very, very important and very critical. So goals, when we have shared goals, that meets our need for impact and meaning. Once we have those, we want to clarify and reinforce roles for structure and clarity. And that's where an individual's understanding of job expectations and the guidelines for fulfilling these expectations is very important. What do you do and what do I do? We need to create, communicate, discuss, and agree on roles. And this is all about the who. Goals are about the what. Roles is about the who. Who is in charge? Who is doing what and when? And who makes decisions? Who's the final authority? Who's who in the zoo? And what do they do? This is absolutely critical. Once we have the roles, I have better understanding of structure and clarity. I'm comfortable. I'm ready to go to work. And that's where process plays a role. We want to create the process of accountability for dependability and as well as communications for dependability. On dependable teams, members know they can rely on each other. So to build and clarify process is all about the how. So goals are the what. The what and the why. Roles are the who. Process is the why. Process is the how. How will we work together? How will we hold each other accountable? And how will we be rewarded? And to reinforce psychological safety as you're going through this process orientation, we want to share decisions on benchmarks. This is what we said this is what we needed to do. This is how we're going to get there. You need to create and utilize assignment sheets and deadlines. That way everybody knows when things have to be done. And then absolutely critical, open communication and providing feedback on meeting goals and when goals are not met, what you do and how you hold that person accountable. Goals, what and why. Roles, how. Process, goals, what and why. Roles, who. Process is how. And so I want you to think back to your best team. Did that leader create a psychologically safe environment? If so, how did they do it? Write a few notes to yourself about how that person created a psychologically safe environment, because my guess is you felt comfortable to be yourself, to perform your best, and you knew that the best would be held accountable and be rewarded. That's all about understanding why you're there. That's goals. Who was in charge and the role you played? That's roles. And how are you going to work with other people and hold other people accountable for excellence? That's process. And you could do that in a safe environment of psychological safety. The team you're talking about, that's a high-performing team. I want to thank you for joining me for this short presentation today. And we took a quick look at teams. We talked about why teams are important, did some definitions, talked about those key team needs, and then how you could build high-performing teams by clarifying goals, understanding the what and the why, clarifying roles, understanding the who, and the process, talking about the how. Using that, I know you can create some high-performing teams where you are. Look forward to seeing you out there, and have a great team experience.